I'm Catherine. I am one of the staff members here, and this is our meditation talk tonight. And we're talking about acceptance tonight. So, in my experience, acceptance is one of those really tricky, wiggly things that's hard to get a good grasp of. You think you've got it one moment, and the next moment, you don't. And it's one of those things that I find that I have to do over and over and over and over again. And I even have to come to some acceptance around that too, where I'm recognizing what it is that my body's doing, what it is that my thoughts are doing, and what it is that I'm actually doing out in the world in reality. Like, what is true for me right now? And when I can get to that place of actually recognizing what's true for me right now, then I have a chance, a small chance of coming to acceptance of that thing. If I'm off in fantasy land, like I'm imagining right now that I'm feeling very cool and I have my talk about acceptance 100% planned out and I'm feeling really good about that, I would not be anywhere near being able to be in acceptance, because the truth is, when I thought about this talk, I thought about being in acceptance of what is. And when I can be in acceptance of, I don't know what I'm saying in 2 or 3 sentences from now, but yet I know that I'll say something, and that something will come from what is right here, right now. And when I can be in acceptance of what is right here, right now, I get a little bit of a, ooh, that's kind of cool. And then I lose it. So we come around again, and then I go, okay, so what is acceptance? So there's lots of books in the lobby that talk about acceptance, because it's a very deep part of our Zen practice, is to be in acceptance of what is, and be in acceptance of the here and now. And it's an easy thing to say, to be in acceptance. Sometimes it's a much harder thing to do. How do you be in acceptance? How do you be in acceptance? One of the very cool things about our brain, and I've talked about this before, but I'm going to talk about it again, is that when you take a big deep breath in and a slow deep breath out, you start to move the activity in your brain from the amygdala and the primal reptilian brain that we have, that is very connected to our emotions and the analytical part of our brain. And when we're in that space, there's a lot of thinking that goes on, there's a lot of emotions that go on, and there's a lot of just like stuff that feels like it's happening. And when we can take that pause, then we start to be in a different part of our brain. We start to be in the prefrontal cortex part of our brain, which is also connected to our senses. And when we're in that part of our brain, we're much more connected to now. So I'm going to say, and I don't know if this is really true, I'm just saying this, so take this with a grain of salt, but I'm going to say when we are able to be in that prefrontal part of our cortex, when we're able to be in the part of our brains that are paying attention to our sensory inputs, so the touch, like can you put two fingers together with such attention that when you rub them together, you can feel the ridges on your fingertips. When you're paying that much attention to your senses, or when you're listening and you listen for the furthest away sound you can hear, and then the closest sound you can hear, which might be your breathing, you're paying very great attention to your hearing. If you're doing it visually, you can pay attention to a certain object and then pay attention to all the shades and the shading that is in that object that you may not even have noticed before. All of those are ways to fully get into your sensory part of your brain. And when you are there, you cannot be also in the emotional part of your brain, where the dysregulation happens, where the upset happens, where the wobbly wobbly stuff happens. And when you very much get into that place of the sensory experience, when you're paying attention to your breath, the emotions subside. And we all know that emotions switch in and out and change and, do all of these different things. So for me, the emotions don't necessarily tell me what's true in the moment in reality. It's my response to what's happening, but they don't necessarily tell me what's true. And I know this because in the same experience, two different people can have two different emotional responses. So my emotion is not necessarily true. I'm feeling it, yes. I do feel the emotion, but the response is not necessarily the response. So I know that I could be having a different response. And when I get to that point where I know that where I have a choice about what it is that I'm feeling or what it is that how I'm responding to something, then I know that that's a place where I can come to acceptance around what is happening. So let's take an example that Sifu likes to use all the time. I don't really relate to this because I don't experience this very much at all, but I guess sometimes I do, occasionally, very occasionally. Somebody cuts you off in traffic and you're like, oh! Like, oh, what are you doing? I was supposed to be in that space that you are now in. But that person's in front of you and they're right where they are. Okay. If I breathe in that moment, I can calm, because I got a little bit of a fright because they cut in front of me and I wasn't expecting it. But then I can breathe and I can be, okay, now I'm here, now you're there, we're all good, we didn't hit each other, that's a good thing. Off we go on our drive, right? So being able to quickly accept the things as they're happening leaves you in so much peace. And I wish I could do it all the time. Life would be so joyous all the time. But even when things are hard, even when things are really difficult, and you know those things that are really difficult, someone passes in your family, someone's really sick, you break up with somebody, you have to move, you lose a job. Any of those things that cause us stress, You get a bigger tax bill than you wanted to. Any of those things, right? Those things are harder because we ruminate on them and we think that how it is now is how it's going to be forever, which is never true because everything always changes. So when we can be with the fact that things changed in a way that we didn't like, but if we can remember that there are still other good things that are still there, then we can accept more easily the sadness, we can accept more easily the grief, we can accept more easily the upset that comes with it. And there's a space where when you can be in full acceptance of something that has happened, when you are fully in that place of just there's a place where you're empty and meaningless, like nothing's affecting you right there. And then in that space of empty and meaningless, you get to choose. And there are endless possibilities of choice. And you could choose bliss. And you could choose anger. You could choose joy. You could choose frustration. Whatever you choose, right? But when you're in that space of acceptance, it's much easier to choose an emotion, or much easier to choose a place to come from that allows you to be more at peace with your life and a great person to be around. And when you can be a great person to be around, when you can have that space of acceptance for others exactly as they are and exactly as they're not, when you can be in that space of acceptance, life is much easier for you in response to what is happening with the people around you. So I'm going to suggest tonight that we practice being in acceptance with where we are right now, today. And how we will do that is by sitting and meditating for a little moment in time. And we're going to breathe, pay attention to our breath, accept that thoughts are going to come in and thoughts are going to go, and that we'll suddenly remember that we're supposed to be paying attention to our breath and go, oh yeah, that's right, I'm paying attention to my breath. And be okay with that momentary lapse in concentration, and know that we're improving our focus, improving our ability to come back to what is every time we come back to the breath as we sit and meditate. So let's do that now. Oh, it's still light. So nice. So sit with your spine straight, hands comfortably in your lap or on your thighs. Imagine there's a thread pulling from the top of your head all the way up into the energy of the universe. Allow your chin to be parallel to the ground. Eyes slightly upturned, looking at the third eye. And as you settle into this space, start to notice your breath. In a few moments, we'll do some breathing together. We'll inhale for 4, hold for 2, and exhale for 8. Start with all the breath out. Inhale. 3, 2, 1. Hold. 2. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. In. Hold. Out. In. Hold. Out. Do one more. In. Hold. Out, and end with a double exhale. Let the breath come in and let the breath go out. Now pay attention to your breath in as much detail as you care to. You can focus on the movements of your body, your belly as it comes in and out. You can focus on the temperature of the air coming in of your nose and slightly warmer as it goes out. You could feel the inflow and the outflow of your breath. And as you notice any thoughts come in, gently thank them for being there and remind yourself that you're focusing on your breath now.